Hello, friends, and welcome back. We are in a new year. I hope that all of you brought in the new year in a wonderful way. I did nothing, and that was truly wonderful. Instead, I stayed home in my comfy pajamas and watched Netflix with my family. It was great. So, welcome back, or just welcome. If you are new here, my name is Lou, and this is Literaturely Lou, where we talk about fantasy and sci fi books. So, we have some books to get into today. I want to do a recap of the books that I read in 2025, the best and the worst, and what I plan to do for January, my January TBR. But first, I said I would update you guys on how writing has been going for me. I mentioned in my last video that I was going to try to think less and just get the words on the page. I feel like I did a lot better this month. I got to 16,372 words. I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of that. I think that's great. Considering all the hubbub of the holiday season, work got crazy, we were attending more social gatherings, but I was committed to getting to my computer and writing every day, even if I could only write a little bit. The goal was 1,000 words a day. Obviously, I did not reach that again, but I am still very, very proud of that number. So, for those of you who don't know, because why would you know, that brings the grand total of my novel to 52,739 words. I'm making strides. Not to mention that I write short stories, and I have been doing some of that this month. I said I wouldn't. I said I would just focus on the novel, but when it's in there, I gotta get it out. But that's enough of that. Let's talk about books. For 2025, I read 70 books, and I genuinely enjoyed, maybe not 5 stars, but genuinely enjoyed 44 of them, like 4 stars and above. And for context, for 2024, I read 50 books and I think I liked 10. So 2025 more than made up for that. But also, you can imagine the struggle of trying to narrow that down to like top 10. So I'm going to go through them kind of rapid fire. I don't know that I want to linger on them too much. Quite a few of them have been reviewed pretty well. You don't need me to add too much more to it. So here we go. Starting with the Aurora Cycle trilogy, I read book one so far only, The Aurora Rising. Also, I really do not like saying Aurora. I feel like it's just such a hard word to say. I digress. This is a YA sci fi that is not buzzing as much. Reason for that is probably because it came out a few years ago, but I definitely think that it needs another moment in the sun. This was so good. We have a band of misfits whose good deeds don't go unpunished, and a conflict that kind of reminds me of The Last of Us. This one I'm for sure going to finish this year. I should mention, by the way, that I'm not showing these books in like a ranking order. These are just in general the books that I enjoyed the most of 2025. Next, The Dividing Sky by Jill Tu. I have mentioned this book before. It deserves to be mentioned again. This is a standalone sci fi, so if any of you guys out there have been wanting a standalone, I think this is definitely a good one for you. It is also YA, but don't let that deter you because I don't feel like this is YA, not in the sense of there's spice scenes or anything inappropriate in the book, but just that it is well written, well told, highly addicting, but also easy to engage with. This one takes place in the dystopian future of Boston, where capitalism is really at its worst. Your time is heavily bartered, so much so that people are unable to have just everyday normal experiences and therefore have to artificially supplement them. Our main character manufactures these memories using a chip in her head and then sells them. So, interesting concept, but things do go south as they always do, and it is quite a ride. I do not have the physical book for this next one, but The Will of the Many by James Islington. I bought this book for my brother in 2024 and then borrowed it and read it myself. I'm really mad that I didn't just go ahead and buy my own copy. There was this whole cover art fiasco thing, but I digress. I loved this book. I gave it 6 stars. You don't need me to say why. A lot of readers in the community also had a really great time with the book, but I am beating myself up because I have not read book two. And there's a whole fiasco around that as well. I bought book two for my brother for Christmas for 2025. So I'm waiting to borrow it to read it this year. It's a thing, it's a whole thing. Now heading into a creepier direction, The Macabre by Kosoko Jackson. I received this as an arc at the beginning of 2025. I didn't have the highest expectations. I thought it would be good. I didn't think it would be great. And I had a phenomenal time with this book. This book is about a series of killer paintings. The main character has a unique tie to these paintings, so he's kind of tasked with neutralizing the evil spirit within them. We get found family, a sentient house, among just a lot of other fun things. I also do not have a copy of this one with me, but Ring Shout by P. Jelly Clark. I have really been on a cosmic thriller kick, and The Ballad of Black Tom is fully responsible for it. Reading this book led me down a rabbit hole to H.P. Lovecraft's books that led me to Lovecraft Country, that led me to Ring Shout. And Ring Shout is a great cosmic thriller if any of you guys are trying to get into a cosmic thriller. This is also now the third book that I have read from this author, and by far my favorite. I did review this book in my Halloween special, so I am going to link that book in case you want to see that review, and also just other cosmic thrillers that you can get into. Buffalo Hunter Hunter. This one needs no explanation. If you've been on the fence about getting into this one, I think it's definitely worth your time. It's not what you would expect it to be when you hear historical fiction involving vampires. I think it takes a unique approach. That's just my opinion. It is, however, a slow story, so if that's not really your bag, then you might have a hard time with this. On the other hand, I loved it. The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I don't know if I just read it in the right time or under the right circumstances, but this one got me good. I mean, locked in from the start to the finish. That does not always happen with books. I think the writing just has to tickle my brain. I like the characters, I like the world, I like the lore, I like the balance between the comedy and the seriousness. I'm really hoping that the rest of the series holds up. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I read quite a few sci-fis this year that were similar in the sense that they contain humor, but none did I enjoy as much as this one. The book community has let me down in the past when they have recommended books to me, but that is not the case with this one. This one was phenomenal. I have not read The Martian. I want to read The Martian, but if you have read both books by this author, please tell me, is it worth my time? Is it just as good? Last year, I was really brave and I started The Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. I completed book 1, The Grace of Kings, and I have started book 2, The Wall of Storms, and wow. I've tried to tell myself over and over that it is too soon to be so invested in the series. For a book 1, this was great. It reads somewhat like a historical fiction, like it's steeped in something very real and tangible. I don't know that it is, but that is the feeling that you get when you read the book. This is another slow-paced story, but very well written. If you guys don't mind slow-paced stories, then this is another one that could be worth your time. And last on this list, but certainly not least, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This is one that does not get enough love, and it's a book that I don't think ever can get enough love. It is told in a series of journal entries, which doesn't allow the reader to uncover any more than the main character does himself. With that being said, there is going to be some parts that are left to be desired. We don't get all of the answers, but honestly, I think that just adds to what is so special about the book. This is a story that will stay with you. It definitely stayed with me. So those are like the top 10 books that I loved in 2025. But like I said, I had a really good reading year. I did have some letdowns, and I feel like it's important to mention the good and the bad. So, context is key. So, out of 70 books, I only had 3 that I did not really enjoy. I'm starting with All That We See or Seem. I actually hesitate to put this on the list. It really wasn't the worst book that I read this year. Unfortunately, I just read a lot of better ones. I just did a video reviewing this book, so I'm not going to say too much. Instead, I'm just going to link that video if you want to know more about this book. The next unfortunate flop was Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, and actually my only DNF of the year. I just read this book last month. It was a month that I committed to slow winter reads. So the slowness of this book is not what bothered me. More so, it was the unnecessary POVs. I really liked Miriam, Wanda, and Arena's story. I was really intrigued by the magic and where that was going to go. But then the book would give us these pointless scenes from the perspective of characters that I simply didn't care about. And I could feel myself trudging through it, and I didn't like that feeling. So I DNF. Then there was Womb City by Tolo Samase. And while I did not DNF this book, I really wish I had. I wanted to like this book so much. The premise was solid. If you like Altered Carbon, techno sci-fis, a little horror, then you would think that this book would be for you. But in my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, it is so poorly written. The plot is so poorly constructed. The conflict is confusing. It had so many problems. I think this was probably the worst book that I read all year. That being said, if you still want to get into it, don't take my word. Go ahead and give it a chance. Hopefully you feel differently. So lastly, I want to talk about my goals for 2026. Maybe not my goals for 2026, let's just say my goals for January. Because I really want to focus more on my writing, I have cut my reading goal down drastically to 25 books, which isn't to say that if you read 25 books in a year that you have like a small goal, just that that's a cut down from what I did in comparison to 2025. And the hope is that I will write a lot more because I'm reading less. However, the books that I plan to get to in January are quite thick. I don't have a concrete TBR for the books that I want to read in January. So I have a list greater than two, and I'm going to see if I can hone it in as much as possible. That's my grand plan. I know. What do they say? Like piss poor planning leads to poor performance or something like that? Yeah, that's going to be me. But here are the pile of books that I'll be pulling from in January. I mentioned that I read Grace of Kings and that I was part of the way through Wall of Storms, so it is on the January TBR. I'm not far into it at all, and maybe the goal will just be to continue to chip away at it versus completing it in January. But this book is in the pile. I also started the sequel series to the Red Rising trilogy. I completed Iron Gold, so Dark Age is also one that I hope to get into in January. But this book's also really thick. My book club has picked Red City for the month of January, so that feels like a non negotiable, and I'm really, really excited to get into that one. Then, a separate goal that I have for the year 2026 is to read a classic every month of the year. And the original plan was to go with The Count of Monte Cristo. Also, look at this cover. Isn't that beautiful? But as many of you may already know, this is over 1,000 pages. I like I don't. I mean, even if I just read this one book and The Red City, that's a lot for January, especially if my goal is to write more. So I'm debating if I should just go with George Orwell's 1984. This is a reread for me. This is my little beer book. I read and owned this book before social media was a thing for me. This copy would shame the community. It was well loved. It was well loved. So yeah, I might just go with 1984 and try to do Count of Monte Cristo another month. But then the last hopeful that I have for January is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is a series that I'm absolutely obsessed with, and book 3 is set to come out this year. So I definitely want to do a reread. I just don't know if I should do it for January or wait till February. Anyway, that is a recap of 2025, my goals for 2026. I also have a lot of videos that I hope to create this year to better connect with this community. So if you've made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Happy reading.